Guys, thank you so much for joining me in today's video where I'm just going to be doing my makeup and also demoing for the first time on camera this beautiful, very luxurious foundation from Tom Ford. It is the shade and Illuminate Soft Radiance foundation, and it does have an SPF of 50. So I've worn this foundation several times, and I will be inserting clips of the first day that I wore this so you guys can see how it wore throughout the day, and hopefully you understand my review a little bit better. I also went ahead and for the first time today used this palette from McGrath. It is the Golden Opulence. I know it's been out for quite some time. It's a very nice palette with some really beautiful wearable colors, if you ask me. I mean, this palette is a good one for an everyday wear. And yeah, I'm gonna show you some other stuff I've been using recently. I do wanna ask you to consider subscribing to my channel. I do not have a set schedule, but I do like to post as often as I possibly can. I'm applying some of this Tarte Timeless Smoothing Primer to fill in my pores. It's always my go-to. I pretty much use that every day. I did buy a new one. I bought the one with like this real fancy little cap here, but I brought this one back down from upstairs, so I figured let's go ahead and try to finish this up. Oops, I got some on my hair there. Be careful with that. Okay, so another primer I want to use is this one from Farsali. I've been using this one on and off since I got it in my Trend Mood box. This is the liquid powder, and I'm just going to apply this right around my T-zone where I do tend to get a little bit oily. I don't really feel like it makes that much of a difference with keeping my oils at bay. So on with the star of today's video, I have this brand new foundation from Tom Ford. It is the Soft and Illuminate Soft Radiance Foundation with SPF 50. This bad boy is expensive. I mean, I'm surprised and shocked at myself for even buying this, but I just had to. So a few things first. I am not somebody that really likes SPF in my foundations. I used to really enjoy that. I thought it was great to have that extra protection to prevent sun damage. So for me, it was kind of a no-brainer. I always welcomed foundations with SPF, but I do find that most of those foundations do tend to break me out. I haven't been using this for about a week already, and I gotta say it hasn't done anything to my skin where it's reacted in any specific way. So I didn't want to do a first impressions on this strictly because of that. Now I did film the first time that I applied this. I just got on camera and recorded while I was doing my foundation, and then I came back at the end of the day to also record how it wore throughout the day. So I will be inserting that in a little bit so you guys can see the actual wear of this foundation. Today we're just applying makeup together, and so I thought I'll just go ahead and talk about this. So I'm gonna go ahead and start applying it and then give you guys a little bit of info. So this foundation comes in 40 different shades. I picked mine up in the shade 6.5, which is Sable. The reason why I got 6.5 is because I have the stick foundation from Tom Ford, and I have it in the shade 7.0 Tawny. And this one's a tad bit too dark for me, so I thought I'll go with one shade lighter, or like half a shade lighter, and hopefully work a little bit better for me. Well, it turns out this is still a tad bit too dark, but nothing bad where I'm gonna go out and buy another shade. I can no longer return this because I did get it from the Tom Ford website. So currently you can only get it from tomford.com, but it should be coming out in other retailers sometime in February from what I hear. I have no idea exactly what dates. I really don't have any information. I've just kind of heard rumors here and there that in February this is going to be released in other stores. I actually would recommend we wait until it's available like at Nordstrom or perhaps even Sephora or anywhere else that you can return a product after using it because of the price points of this. But I just took a leap, and because I can make the 7.0 work on me, I thought, you know, with the 6.5, I didn't really feel like I can go wrong. So it is going to be a little bit dark on me, but it's okay. Like I said, we can make it work. So one good thing about this, well, a good thing is that it does have SPF of 50, which is pretty great, but it also claims to have all these other skincare benefits. And one thing that really attracted me to this, well, of course, that's always a big plus, but also that it claims to give a medium to full coverage. So I'm somebody that I mostly enjoy a medium coverage foundation, but when I have a lot of pigmentation going on, if I'm going to have a special occasion, or maybe if I'm just gonna go out for the night and I wanna have just more of an even canvas, just look as flawless as I possibly can, you know, sometimes I do want to have that full coverage foundation. So I had really high hopes for this one because it claims to give you a really luminous, radiant finish. And so that just really intrigued me. And why not talk about the packaging real quick? So it's got a pump. As you can see, mine's a little bit dirty there. I have been using this. And the cap, it's magnetic. So I really enjoy that. A lot like their lipsticks, and the actual packaging looks so much like their glosses. I love the packaging of this. This is the only one I picked up. It's in the shade Inhibition. Really beautiful gloss. So yeah, it's pretty much identical to the foundation. Just very luxurious, a little weighty. The bottle is glass, so you do want to be careful. Let's not drop it. And like many other foundations, you do get 1 ounce of product in here. So I know the price is extremely high. So I am never going to be somebody that's going to tell you guys or recommend anybody run out to go get a product like this. This is just something that I personally just really wanted to try out for myself, and it is also definitely the most expensive foundation I have ever purchased. I kind of just had to. At first I said I wasn't gonna pick it up. The SPF was kind of scaring me a little bit, but I did end up watching Michelle Wong's video where she did her first impressions on this, and she did an all-day wear test, and the way her skin looked at the end of the day, I mean throughout the entire day actually, it looked so beautiful on her. So I pretty much convinced myself soon after watching that video to go ahead and pick it up and try it out for myself. So I went ahead and placed about 2 pumps onto this glass here. And as you can see, it is a little bit runny. I personally like foundations that are runny like that because it gives me the impression that it's going to be a little bit more lightweight on the skin. And also foundations like that, I prefer to apply with a brush. First time I applied this foundation, I actually used my Blendiful. This guy is really amazing. I'm still trying to get the hang of applying the foundation with this. I feel like it takes me a little bit longer, but it does an amazing job. I just have to practice with it a little bit more. But it applied this foundation flawlessly, really easy. I love the coverage that it gave me. I felt like it gave me more of a medium close to full coverage with this. And I also just used about 2 or 2.5 pumps on this video, and I was very happy with the coverage I got. I've also tried this foundation with both a beauty blender and a brush. The beauty blender will definitely give you a lighter coverage. I wanted to try to use it to its fullest potential, so I've also tried it with a foundation brush. And so far using a foundation brush has been my favorite method. So today we're gonna use this one from Marc Jacobs. It is the Face No. 2 brush. Honestly, it's the only clean one I have, and I enjoy it. So we'll go ahead and use this and start applying. Gonna do streaks like this. By the way, this does have a scent. It's a very subtle, but it doesn't irritate me, and I think it smells quite nice. But if you're sensitive to any type of scents, just keep that in mind. It applies very beautifully and seamlessly. I love how this looks. It is a very natural finish. It does leave your skin looking radiant, just like they claim it will. And then throughout the day, your skin just ends up looking a little bit more and more dewy, but not in a disgusting, oily way. At least I don't believe so. And as you can see, it gives coverage, but you can build it up to get to that full coverage. I'm not gonna say it gives you like the fullest of coverage as far as my foundations go that I've tried. For me, it gets as close as I kind of want it to get. I love that it doesn't cling onto any dry patches, and it doesn't all of a sudden appear throughout the day. Another huge plus, I do have combination skin, so I get oily on my T-zone and my cheeks do get really dry. This foundation is one that I know I can count on when I'm feeling a little dry. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish applying this using the brush. Okay, so here's my skin with those 2 pumps that we used, and I feel like I have got some pretty decent coverage, a good solid medium coverage here. So I do enjoy this. I am going to use about half a pump more, just in the areas that I do need more coverage in. And this builds up really nicely. It doesn't look cakey at all. I think it looks really, really pretty. For me, 2.5 pumps gives me the coverage that I'm looking for, and then I just love. I'm using my Chanel Le Corrector concealer in the shade 30 Beige. My concealer brushes are also dirty, so I'm using, actually I want to say this is like the concealer brush I like. Is it the same thing? I think it is. So these little Sephora VIB Rouge brushes, I ended up getting 2 of these somehow. I know I gave one away to my niece, but it is just like this one concealer brush that I absolutely love. It's the number 56. But I've used this one already a few times. I don't like to use my dirty brushes, so I use this little travel size one. I do find that I have to build this concealer a little bit, so I added a bit more. On my word test video, I ended up using this loose powder from Chanel. I love what this does to the skin when I'm setting it. It does a really good job at mattifying, but without making it look dry. I love how it takes care of my pore area right here. It does a phenomenal job. I just don't really think that it's the best keeping your oils at bay. So with a foundation like this, I've been testing it out more than with this Huda Beauty Easy Bake Powder. I'm obsessed with this one. So I use the shade Cupcake. So I'm gonna go ahead and set around my T-zone with this, but before I do that, I also really enjoy using this, and I really want to embrace the foundation for what it is. So I want to use products that are going to allow the foundation to act the way it's supposed to act, to stay luminous and radiant throughout the day. But I do want to have some control with what happens on my T-zone area, because looking oily, it's not cute and it's not the same as looking dewy to me. I want to look dewy around my face, or maybe even a little bit of my T-zone, but I really need to make sure that my oils don't come through too much. So I want to try to control that a little bit by using that Huda Beauty powder, but I don't want to overuse it. So I'm going to go ahead and set my under eye area and most of my T-zone with this pressed powder from Trish McEvoy. And then I'll just set this under eye area here, take it down a bit. I don't like to get carried away with this. I enjoy translucent powders that are white, but I feel like there is the right way of using this. Because it is white, it can cause some flashbacks, so you want to be careful with how much you actually apply. I don't typically take pictures with flash anyway, so I typically don't mind, especially for a day like today. I'm not going to be going out taking pictures anywhere, but I still want to be careful. So now to set the T-zone, we'll use my Huda Beauty powder. And I'm just going to go ahead and use my blender for here, dip in, and then I'm going to press it in where I do get oily. Okay, so I went ahead and just mattified my T-zone. It's not going to stay this matte throughout the day anyway, but it is going to help with what I need it for. So let's go ahead and finish up the face makeup. I'm not going to do any highlights. I like the dewiness that this foundation gives, so I want to just credit the foundation for that. But I do want to use this liquid blush from Nars. This is in the shade Luster. I haven't used this shade in a bit. I picked up a little bit with the same foundation brush. Let me grab my mirror to see this a little better. I have so many liquid blushes that I enjoy so much, but I think I just get so lazy to pull them out. Just because I feel like you have to be a little bit more careful when you're applying it. But a shade like this that isn't super pigmented, it just gives off like a hint of peachy shade. Oh, I love this. For bronzer, let's go back to this little compact that I have here from Trish McEvoy, and I'm going to pick up this bronzer here. So this is more of a luminous bronzer. And again, I don't want to work against the luminosity that this foundation gives us, which is why I don't want to use a matte bronzer. So we'll just do this. I really enjoyed this one. Actually, I have her matte bronzer and I really love the matte one. This one's really nice too, but I go through phases where I just prefer a matte bronzer. So that's the one that I use quite a bit. You see how nice this is? It's very subtle. It's nothing too heavy. So my face makeup at this point is complete, and I love how this foundation looks. Look, piece of hair there. I love it. It doesn't look cakey at all. So just to compare it a little bit with the stick foundation, I actually wore this one yesterday all day because I wanted to have like a fresh memory as to how this wears compared to the new Tom Ford foundation. And I've got to say, they are somewhat similar. So here's the thing. With the stick foundation, I do feel like it takes a little bit more effort to get the coverage that I'm looking for. Once I get there, it doesn't necessarily look cakey. It just looks a little bit more makeup-y than the liquid foundation does. The liquid foundation does give more of that dewy, radiant finish, whereas the stick foundation gives some luminosity to the skin throughout the day, but it's nothing overly excessive, whereas this one, not to say that it's not, it's just a little bit extra. For my skin, I like how the liquid one looks a lot more on myself and how it wears than this one. Just comparing the two, because comparing it to other foundations, this one usually will take the cake. But in this case, comparing the two, definitely the liquid one I think wears on me a lot better. Now the liquid one is not necessarily double the price as the stick foundation, but I mean it's quite up there. So I really don't know if I can actually say that the price difference is worth the difference I see in these foundations. But I had to try it out for myself and I am very happy with it. Now before we get into the eye look, I'm gonna go ahead and insert the images where I show you guys how the foundation looked at the end of the day. And at this point, I've already been wearing the foundation for just over 10 hours. Now, if you guys have seen any of my previous foundation wear tests, you will know that I do not like to do any type of touching up throughout the day because I'm aware that a lot of people don't tend to do that. So I want to show you guys how it looks without blotting or doing anything. And at this point, I think my foundation looks so good. I am very happy with how it wore. The coverage maintained the same. There was absolutely no separation. It didn't cling to any dryness. It felt good. You can see that my T-zone is a little bit oily, but it's nothing too excessive. Had I blotted at some point, I think it would have looked a lot better. And my skin still looks very natural and it just looks dewy. Dewy how I want a foundation to look on me. Onto the eyes, I just went ahead and primed using my Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Eye Primer, and then I did set it with some powder. So now let's go in with the eyeshadow. Today I'm going to be using this Pat McGrath Mothership Sublime Golden Opulence palette. I've had this. I was going to do a dedicated video on it, so I didn't get a chance to do that, so I figured I'll go ahead and demo it in today's video. I do gotta say I love the color of this packaging, but I don't like the material of it as much. I feel like it gets dirty really easily, and just the packaging itself is horrible. You can't bend this all the way back. It's just kind of odd. But anyway, here are the shades you get. So this palette has 6 total shades, 2 mattes, and the other 4 are these real beautiful metallic-y shimmery shades. I'll go ahead and do some swatches for you guys. I'm gonna pick up the shade Moon Phase down here. Apply it all over the lid. By the way, I'm using my Wayne Goss number 17 brush. Let me move that. You know what, I'm gonna go ahead and pick up some of this gold shade. That one's called Gold Fortune. Same brush. I'm just gonna tap this right in the center here. Oh, that's a very nice combo there. I like that. All right, I picked up my Smith 232. Pick up some Tranquility. So apply this in the crease and blend it upwards. We're gonna hit that inner corner with Eternal Opulence. To finish off the eye look, I'm gonna use this Pillow Talk eyeliner. So this is like the newest of the newest from Charlotte Tilbury. She came out with like this whole other collection for Pillow Talk. I already did a video on the Instant Eye Palette. This is, oh my gosh, this is gorgeous. So the video I did, I used all of the eyeshadows in here. If you guys want to check that out, I'll have that linked down below. And then she also ended up releasing new shades to her Pillow Talk lipstick and lip liner collection, and I think some blushes as well. I haven't picked any of that other stuff up, But so far, I've been using this eyeliner. I do recommend you warm it up in your hand before you apply it because it was kind of tugging a little bit too much. So now that I've done that, I'm gonna place this on my bottom lash line. Then just with my ring finger, I'm going to blend this in a little. You know what, I'm gonna go ahead and apply some on the top lash line as well. So this is the Too Faced Damn Girl Mascara. I have had samples of this and I love it. Now this is not going to be for everyone. I feel like it doesn't have very good reviews because the brush of this is ridiculously big. I mean, that is huge. It's like the size of my eye practically. So if you have little itty bitty lashes or if you have smaller eyes, maybe something like this isn't going to be for you. I don't know. I mean, I can see why people won't like this. It just takes up so much of your eye space here, but I like it. By the way, I still have this eyeliner here. Like, this eyeliner is good. This will not budge. Like, look at that. Like, that's amazing. Using my MAC Extended Play for the bottom lashes. Aw, I totally forgot I wanted to use this today. Can I still use it? You know what? Let's try to use it still. Grabbing my Blendiful here. So this is the Tom Ford Shade and Illuminate palette in the shade 01 Intensity. Okay, so it was a little bit of that. So now to finish up this look, I've really been enjoying this Chanel lip liner in the shade Nude Brun. What is it? Nude Brun 162. Since I pulled this out already, let's use this Gloss Luxe from Tom Ford. Again, it's in the shade Inhibition. Alright guys, this is the finished look. I really love how this foundation looks and how it performs. So for me, this foundation is definitely a thumbs up. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, please make sure to give me a thumbs up. And while you're there, do not forget to hit that subscribe button so you do not miss out on any of my future videos. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. Until next time.